Hey there, welcome to the Reinsurance Podcast, the place where we dive into all things reinsurance, the coolest part of insurance. We're your hosts, Gerhard and Ben, a couple of ex-practitioners who loved the industry so much we founded Supercede to tackle some of its biggest headaches. And we're here to share our insights and stories with expert guests as we uncover what's really going on in the industry.
Welcome back to the Reinsurance Podcast here in Monte Carlo, and I'm delighted that Gerhard from Univé Re has joined us today. How are you?
Thank you. Fine.
How are you finding Monte Carlo 2025?
As always, it's interesting. The weather is still good, so that always helps. Not too hot, I believe. But everything went fine. We flew in yesterday, and it all worked fine. So we always stay in the Meridian Hotel.
Nice.
It's comfortable. You can do the walk. That's always enjoyable. And I think we had a first day of our meetings with key partners in the end, and it was interesting and went really well, I believe.
Yeah, no, excellent to hear. And you were telling me about your special preparation approach, which makes a lot of sense to me. Your Monte Carlo starts before Monte Carlo, is that right?
Yes. We started, I think it was in the Corona days.
Sure.
And how can we reach out? And we have quite a technically driven storyline, content driven, and how do we get it across? So we started to do a bit of a low profile webinar kind of setup in our own meeting room and just make it work, so to say.
Yeah.
But after Corona, we got feedback, that was quite interesting what you did. And we can also include colleagues, and we can join and sit in a meeting room and listen to your explanation of what happened in the portfolio, what happened with modeling, and in the end what we propose as a CAT program. So the feedback we took on board and said, maybe it's also a better way of approaching the face-to-face meetings. Then we already have spoken about the technicality, so to say, and we can immediately start the conversations with, no, do you have questions or do you have specific topics?
Straight to the bits.
Yeah, true. And we have more time to really do a bit more of the in-depth discussion and also a bit of, what about you, dear Mr. Reinsurer? What about capacity and appetite, etc.? And we do that typically, now we've done it on the Wednesday, so last Wednesday. We do it completely live, so it's one take, so to say. And therein I address a bit about the Univé organization, which is also not your typical setup. It's a Dutch group of insurance companies. It's more of a collaboration, so it's not one legal group. We have mutual companies. We have 8, and they carry the property risk, but they are all independent.
Yeah.
And then we'll have on a centralized level, we have a casualty insurer and a reinsurance company. And I represent the reinsurance company. So we have assumed business from our own family members, so to say. And then, of course, we bundle the risk and say, what is our net appetite? And then we buy our protection.
Makes complete sense.
So that includes, of course, specific modeling, etc. And so then we tell a bit about Univé. We tell a bit about the developments of the underlying property portfolio. Modeling is always a big part for us. We are quite heavily involved in modeling. RMS is our leading model for setting our view of risk. Yeah. But also the Verisk and other views, also the broker views is important to us. And we are quite critical, so to say, and we always have also discussions with many people involved. Univé, historically, it's over 230 years old. So you can imagine where it starts. It starts with agricultural.
Yes. Yeah.
It starts with farmers, and that's our origin. So still we have a relatively large share of agricultural risks.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
And typically agricultural risks from a modeling or windstorm modeling perspective would be viewed as the more vulnerable risks.
Interesting.
And so we have we've quite done the exercises of, is it actually modeling correctly? Is it representing the Dutch agricultural risks in the right way, to our opinion? So quite quite extensive studies, so that's really important. So that always needs to be addressed in the webinar. And then we'll touch on the moving parts and what does it mean from a buying perspective.
Absolutely.
And then is that, so to say, out of the way, and then we can touch on, sometimes there are some specific questions, and typically with us we have quite a conservative inflation approach, so we had quite a bit of an uptick again, so we will be buying also quite some additional limit. Our program is in excess of 600 million euros, probably considered the fourth program in the Netherlands. So it has quite some size, extensive panel, and try to speak to as many partners as possible.
I can imagine you've probably got quite a few meetings to get through just to see everybody on the
Yes. So, but it works, and then of course we have the Baden conference, and then we can speak to a bit more markets. But it really starts here for us. It's a bit of setting the scene. Is there full understanding of our storyline, and also what does it mean from our perspective moving forward, and what is the response on that?
I guess you must have, having been around for as long as you said the company has been around, some really, really long reinsurance relationships as well, probably.
Yeah. I've been with Univé also over 25 years. It's always been reinsurance, but I started like doing really the accounting part. So I see the relationship that has been there for years, and typically being a mutual company, we have a relationship with also the your typical mutual or cooperative players, but also the well-known names of the market. So we have really stable relationships, and it's quite a bit of appetite for Univé. So we get approached quite a lot, and then it's always a bit difficult. We really appreciate it. But
only so much room.
That's certainly the case.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess being very focused on what you do in the region that you do it, how much are you affected by all of the big headline grabbing topics around, wildfires and hurricanes in the US, for example? Does it have a knock-on effect when it comes to you buying your reinsurance?
I think we are completely, we're domiciled in the Netherlands, our business is in the Netherlands, so there's no outside business, etc. It's the agricultural part, but predominantly it's residential. It's not an exotic book of business, but we do realize that we are part of a market which in the end seeds risk to another linkage in the chain, so to say, and we know that it can have effect where reinsurers would be affected quite a bit, that it would have impact on price. If it dilutes capital, then probably that will have a consequence. And it's up to us to do a good explanation also internally. How can it be that the price goes up where we didn't have any windstorm, so to say? So the whole concept of being part of a global market, we acknowledge it, but still, of course, we give the pushback. But how does it relate to us? But it's probably the famous discussion. Probably everyone has.
Absolutely.
But I think it's more. It drives a bit the talk about climate change and the impact, or secondary perils discussion, etc. And that is probably what is happening more. Instead of, sorry, this influences your windstorm exposure, so to say. So
more the growing awareness of these things in general.
That is probably the case, and still that also makes sense. And we are always open to have that kind of a discussion. And we follow the news specifically probably of how does it impact our reinsurance partners? Is there an effect? Is there an effect on ratings maybe? And how do we incorporate that in moving forward? But with us, it has been long term, and it will be long term. We are never here for, let's do a one-off renewal and see what happens. No, it's always a discussion for the long run.
That makes sense. Well, maybe another 25 years of reinsurance buying.
Maybe. Yes. No, I feel really comfortable with certainly a company like Univé, the mutual background. I personally feel that it completely makes sense. That is the setup of an insurance company, given the fact that insurance plays a pivotal role in society.
Yeah.
It has a function, so to say. It makes society work. So it makes sense that it is more mutual driven.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we as Univé, we are also quite a bit involved in ICMIF, the big global organization, of course, for mutual and cooperative companies. And you meet people, and it's always within 5 minutes. Then it's, oh, wait a minute, that's the same story we tell or we share. So that really helps.
Yeah.
And of course, we are still very appreciative also of the more, let's call them shareholder-driven reinsurers, because in the end, we also have great relationships with them.
Yeah.
But a bit of that mutual background that sits well for me. So
I can imagine. I can imagine. And I guess looking forwards, obviously, things on your side very consistent with growth and so on to look forward to. Any predictions for the year ahead? Will it be? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
The sun?
Yeah. Saves you being blinded as well. So I guess just looking forwards, any trends or predictions that you're excited about with all these, big macro technology and climate and so on things happening in the background, geopolitics, etc. What's interesting to you, and what do you think might stay the same or change?
I think I think the technology part is already having quite an impact, and we were already probably for decades used to technology and shaping the processes, etc. But I think especially with the AI developments, etc., and also becoming more and more aware of how it can be used in your own processes, that is also what we are looking more and more into. How can we make it work for us without losing the human element or the knowledge part? So that's an interesting situation, but it goes really fast.
Yes, it does.
It's also how do you keep up?
Yeah.
That is probably this time interesting, and I think in general, but it's more the long-term perspective, also the climate change impact.
Yeah.
From a Dutch perspective, it's maybe not currently so obvious as maybe what we see in southern France or Italy and the hail, etc. But we also acknowledge that water probably is becoming more and more a theme. And for the Netherlands, of course, that's interesting. Half of the country is below sea level, so
of course,
it's historically also an important topic. But that's certainly something we look into, and of course also from the modeling perspective, but also what is covered. Traditionally in the Netherlands, the primary flood is not covered. Secondary is, and of course precipitation. So those kinds of events will probably also become more and more relevant, so to say. But still, windstorm, that's the big peril for the Netherlands, at least from our perspective, given our book of business.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
So that is really also the key focus for us. That is our peril that drives the program.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And we're getting towards the end of the conversation now. I appreciate you've got to get back into the fray and continue your back-to-back meetings. But anything else you'd like to share with the audience, and anything in particular that you're personally excited about as we look forward to the rest of the conference?
I think from being here as a buyer, I think it was interesting leading up to Monte Carlo. We of course saw the results of the reinsurers. We saw the feedback of rating agencies, and is it turning? Is it softening? Is it more the buyer's market, so to say? And I think that is also interesting for us to see how it is flowing or moving as a market, and especially giving our specific own themes, so to say. So we are addressing a bit more. We want to look at this approach, or what are your thoughts about this, and maybe discuss a bit the famous reinstatement conditions. Or looking at what everyone is mentioning, the minimum rate online discussions, etc. So we are in general in good discussions. We want to be open and transparent early, and not suddenly have a program in place and this is a program. So and really as a discussion starter.
Yes.
To have also the feedback of our partners. And that is probably key for us for this Monte Carlo, given current market dynamics. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Really interesting time, as you say, to see where the market ends up in different places, and whether it will be a buyer's market in a few months' time when you.
And of course,
renewals.
would something still happen on the Atlantic Ocean or with a hurricane or whatever? So
Exactly.
there are still moving parts, and then already looking forward to the Baden conference.
Yes,
and pick
definitely.
it up from there.
Yeah, looking forward to see how the market evolves to there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
It's been
thank
a pleasure having you on board
Yeah.
on the yacht, and look forward to seeing you back up in Casino Square and beyond.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to the Reinsurance Podcast. If you enjoyed our show, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review to let us know how we're doing, preferably 5 stars. For more insights and updates, follow us on LinkedIn and visit our website at supercede.com/podcasts. You'll find the links in the show notes.